I mean, how many people could actually, if there was a 30-day call-in for the mortgage on their house, how many people could actually pay it?
Yeah, but what you're looking at is basically the possibility of throwing virtually all the policemen in this country out of their homes, all the firemen out of their homes, all of the doctors and nurses out of their homes, because most of these people have all got homes through Fannie Mac and Freddie and all of these lending institutions. When that happens, basically, I do have a degree in history. You have to remember the veterans marching on Washington after World War I because they were promised money that they never got. Just think what happens if you bounce all of the first responders out of their homes.
Ooh.
They're not going to leave them, for one thing.
Yeah.
That's right. You're going to have basically you're going to have a civil war take place in our country over the housing crisis. And
that's a really tough situation to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the times you really don't want to be president.
That's right.
And you probably don't want to be in Congress either.
Well, see,
those are tough spots.
The Democrats will blame it all on George Bush, but then history will blame it all on the party that's in control, which is the Democrats. So it's a no-win situation for everybody. I mean, these are all hypotheses, but a week ago they'd have never bet on Fannie Mac collapsing. And then the fact that Fannie Mac collapsed drove the Wall Street analysts to basically point out the fact that the new laws that are coming in to go with the mortgage, the $300 billion housing bailout,
well, maybe they'll change it.
No, they won't.
Can't?
No, they're congressmen. They basically, Congress works on the rule of unintended consequences. Basically, when they make up their minds to do something, they'll do it whether it's right or wrong. It just gets done.
Part of it is it takes so long typically to get things through Congress.
I know, and I mean they can do an emergency appropriation. Okay, the $300 billion was not going to be enough to keep the people in their homes.
It was basically a Band-Aid.
It was a Band-Aid until after the next election. Basically they wanted to get this off the books and say that it basically is a $300 billion pork barrel project to make people feel good. They won't do anything, to make people feel good on the energy crisis, but they'll put $300 billion to make you feel good on your homes. But it's a huge disaster. Monday could bring, we could all be on the bow of the Titanic going down together tomorrow. There's that possibility. It's okay. No matter what, the two companies are probably going to fold. That would be my guess. Because if the giant Fannie Mac would fold, it is more than likely that they will fold, and the government will do what is necessary. Which they said, the government is in part responsible for all this to begin with.
Why is that?
Well, because they didn't bother to step in to stop the problem of predatory lending before it happened. They didn't bother to correct the situation on energy before it happened. They knew it was coming. It's just like...
Oh, that's true, they did, because the way the loans were being written a few years ago, I mean, anyone that would look in the future could kind of foresee what was coming. They just didn't realize it was this bad.
Okay.
I mean, because interest-only loans,
they didn't have... They were loaning to people like me. I'm a senior citizen, folks. I mean, I'm not going to be there for the end of that 30-year loan period. But they would loan to me. You could loan with absolutely no verification of work.
Oh, really?
Right, no verification of income, no money down. And for,
people that worked at fast food places making minimum wage were getting homes.
They were buying $800,000 homes.
Now, see, I still don't even understand how that is justified. Or ever was.
Well, because basically what they did was, this is what makes it even worse, is they took all of their loans that they had on automobiles, credit cards, and everything, lumped them into one huge package so that they could make one payment.
Yeah.
And
so why was that so bad?
Because the people then went out and got other cars and other credit cards.
Oh.
That's right. They took that car,
because they lowered their payments because they put it all together, so then they went out and spent more money.
That's right. And then what happened was they got hit by the lenders feeling, it's just like the credit card companies. They give you the low introductory rate, and then they'll hit you with a 20% rate like in 6 months. What happened was they waited like a year or so And then across the board, all the companies that did the predatory lending jumped it like to about 20% interest.
Ouch.
I mean, at like 5 or 6%, they could barely afford it before they started going further into debt. But then they jumped it up to 20%, and then the energy crisis hit.
Fuel prices went up.
The fuel prices went up. They're spending, Fannie's spending $400 to $500 a month to come in from Lancaster to Los Angeles to work.
Well, actually, that would be conservative because I've seen figures. A lot of them are $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Just for fuel.
Yeah, and it's getting $1,000 a month for energy for your house on some houses.
Ooh, oh, that's true because they're out there. They don't have the temperate climates that we have.
That's right.
So they need more air conditioning, more
so
heating,
all the cost. We're talking higher energy across the board. Then, not only the higher energy, but the fact that the food costs have all gone up. I mean, like a gallon of milk is going to be $4 a gallon very shortly in those stores. And the meat is going off the scale, and it's all got to do with things that could have been handled by the government. But I could get off on a tangent. In fact, the Democrats say we're not going to let offshore drilling or anything else happen because you people have 62 million acres of leases that you're not using now. Well, an example of why they're not using it now was this weekend when a judge forbid an oil company from drilling on one of his leases.
Why?
Because they said it was environmentally unsound.
Yeah.
So you got 62 million acres of leases. For one, the environmentalists won't let you drill on, and two, the leases basically amount. Okay, it's like the way it works in oil leases. They take leases out to keep other people from getting them, and then they use these leases as if there were money in the bank to borrow against. And it doesn't make any difference that there may be no oil on that ground. They take the leases out and then they use that as collateral to drill somewhere else.
Oh, interesting.
But there is not really 62 million acres of oil out there that they have leases on. There are 62 million acres of ground that have leases on it that may or may not have oil, but they also may or may not be allowed to even explore on that because of the environmental movement. So Congress could have allowed new refineries to be built over the last 30 years. They could force legislation. They haven't, and the environmentalists finally gave the environmentalists forced to grinding all new refineries. So I mean, this isn't where the Republicans are responsible, where the Democrats are responsible. It's basically everybody's responsible for this screw up.
Well, and the challenge for most people is yes, they would like it to happen. Yes, there should be alternative fuel. Yes, there should be nuclear power, but they don't want it in their own backyard.
No, I mean,
so that's the challenge.
I'm going to go to an episode of years ago. Actually, I was at Merv Griffin's show when let's say we had an activist was there talking about solar power being the means of savior for the future. You could use solar power for your automobiles, solar power for your homes, and there was an actor sitting next to her. Impossible. And then the woman that was the activist really bitched up a storm, and finally got down with it. Who the hell do you think you are? He said, well, I have a doctorate in solar fusion, and I'm supposedly one of the foremost experts in the world on solar energy. And then he went to explain to the activist how we didn't have the abilities. He said it's a crime that we don't have the abilities, but this is 30 years ago. They still don't have the abilities today because the money was never put into the research needed to make the batteries that you need to store energy in. No, that's and then we're going to talk about cars that plugging your little car into a wall outlet in order to get that car.
Those plug-in hybrids or
the plug-in hybrids. That power comes from somewhere, folks. Basically you've got to pay for that power somewhere. So, but it's everything that has been done since not a spring chick was a young chicken.
A little chick.
Okay, let's put it since she came out of the egg. Has been nothing. There has been basically no forward progress since I was young. I mean, I have not.
Oh, that's probably part of the problem.
Yep.
Is the lack of progress. Hey everyone, this is not a spring chicken. This is an editorial. So come on, give us some feedback, give us your responses because, well, in editorials, they're all opinions, aren't they? So let us know what yours is.